everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 23rd of February until the 1st of March 2025. So first I'm going to talk about, as always, the main aspects that are controlling us this week and the energies that you can tap into. So the first thing affecting us this week is Mercury's parallel to Saturn, and this energy works the same as a conjunction. If you don't know what a contraparallel or parallel is, listen to the audio pre-recorded that I made about them. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra-parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So Declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination, either both planets are on the north side or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contraparallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contraparallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contraparallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contraparallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contraparallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contraparallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contraparallels and parallels are. So yeah, Mercury's making a parallel to Saturn when Mercury's in Aquarius and Saturn's in Aquarius as well. And this entered on the 21st of February, is exact on the 23rd of February and going to leave us on the 27th of February. We also got the Sun making a contraparallel to Venus. This entered also on the 21st of February, and contraparallels are the same as oppositions in astrology. So yeah, so this is exact on the 24th of February and leaves us on the 27th of February, and the Sun is in Aquarius and Venus is in Pisces. The Sun also makes a contraparallel to Chiron, and this happens when Chiron's in Pisces and of course the Sun is in Aquarius. So this entered on the 20th of February and is exact on the 24th of February and leaves us on the 2nd of March. Saturn also makes a semi-sextile to Chiron, so half a sextile energy. Basically that's how this one works, and this is exact on the 27th of February. It entered on the 14th of February, so it's been affecting us for a while and it's going to leave us on the 13th of March. So this energy is really peaking and waning for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, we also got Mercury's parallel to the Moon's North Node. This entered on the 26th of February and is exact on the 1st of March and leaves us on the 3rd of March. Okay, so Mercury's parallel to Saturn allows us to focus on structure, routine and communication, enhancing our analytical abilities while also grounding our thoughts positively. This transit encourages us to discipline our thinking, have more clarity in our expression, the way we talk and what we do. It's a great time for strategizing, planning and formalizing ideas, signing contracts, stuff like that. We may be more drawn to serious conversations that create understanding and resolution of ongoing conflict, family issues, relationship troubles and that. So it supports us doing that, as well as exploring innovative new concepts, ideas in social settings. So thinking about the way that you socialize, it allows us to mix our intellectual insights with Saturn's practicality, and this results in well-founded conclusions and decisions. So it allows us to take time out to practice active listening in to each other, speaking our truths, right, and then coming to conclusions from those discussions. But negatively, it can make us mentally inflexible, excessive self-criticism where we put ourselves down, and this can lead to feelings of doubt and frustration. If you feel stifled in expressing your ideas psychologically, we may confront fears surrounding communication and authority. Saturn's influence can cause us to second guess our thoughts or undervalue our contributions. Spiritually and esoterically, this transit invites us to reconcile the tension between our individual insights, which is represented by Mercury in Aquarius, and the collective structure routines that Saturn represents. So this motivates us to do deep reflection on how our ideas can contribute to the greater good. Accepting and flowing with this duality can lead to profound next level personal growth as you learn to balance innovation with practicality, and by using your unique voice while also remaining grounded. And the Sun's contra to Venus allows us to mix our self-expression in a loving way and focus on beauty, simple beauty, not extravagant necessarily. This transit allows us to upgrade and improve our capacity to connect with others on that spiritual heart level, so it supports us repairing our relationships, creative plans and embracing creative projects. We can just be more charming and charismatic right now, allowing for any troubles to be sort of like settled in relationships harmoniously, amicably, where we cooperate. But negatively, we can be superficial this week with this energy and overindulge in our pleasures, and this can lead to us prioritizing appearances, what things and people look like, over deeper connections or the deeper decision making when it comes to buying items and stuff like that. Psychologically, we may grapple, struggle with issues of self-worth that are tied to external validation and question whether you are truly appreciated for who you are rather than what you present. And the Sun's contra to Chiron allows us and supports us in confronting and healing these personal wounds, and this energy lasts us, as I said, up until the 2nd of March. So it allows us to self-reflect and explore our vulnerabilities, encouraging us to, engage in healing conversations with ourselves and others, and offer compassion and empathy to ourselves and others as well, creating or continuing more personal growth and understanding in our lives or other people's lives. But it can also add to the discomfort because old wounds, resurfacing can be traumatic, and this can lead to us having to confront painful memories that we have been avoiding, or feelings of inadequacy, not being enough, not being good enough. Spiritually and esoterically, this aspect reminds us of the importance of owning our inner wounds as part of our journey towards wholeness. It emphasizes the transformative power of self-acceptance and healing that can come from sharing our experiences with others. Saturn's semi-sextile to Chiron brings a mix of structure, routine and healing, so supporting, it's like a double Chiron energy because Chiron's here as well, but this is semi-sextile, so it's subtle, but because we've got that Saturn and Chiron because we've got the Sun and Chiron in that contra already, this energy is really adding to it. So it allows us to integrate lessons from our past psychological, emotional and physical traumas or any other trauma, into our current responsibilities, into what we need to do, and we can discover that it challenges us to, grow constructively, to take innovative approaches to healing and looking after our mental and psychological well-being, and it allows us to have more emotional understanding. But the semi-set style can bring feelings of discomfort or add to the feelings of discomfort and tension and stress and struggling and pain and suffering, as we may find it hard to, work with the energy of discipline that Saturn wants us to work with, and the vulnerability that Chiron wants us to go into this week. And this ambivalence, this mixed feelings can manifest as self-doubt or frustration when trying to establish a balance between your personal limits and the need for emotional, nurturing. So enforce your boundaries this week. Think about your boundaries. Think about ways you may be overstepping other people's boundaries, and ask yourself why you do that. Why do you allow other people to overstep your boundaries? Why do you overstep other people's boundaries if you do that, Mercury's parallel to the moon's north node this week brings a fertile ground, for communication, and exploring our higher purpose. It encourages us to express our dreams and visions, allowing us to align our thoughts with our spiritual path, and we may find our intuition is increased as well, and it just grants us the clarity on matters of significance to us, and it allows us to really focus on what we need to focus on this week. But we just need to watch out for that escapism, energy, because the Pisces energy can always lead us to ignore red flags, retreat into fantasy, neglect the practicalities, and neglect our physical and emotional and mental well-being, and overindulge in intoxicating substances, so drugs, alcohol, and doing things in excess that are destructive to us, like excessive hookup-in and stuff like that. So psychologically, this energy wants us to think about how our communication patterns, the way we talk, influence our destiny, our day-to-day life. It pushes us to adapt, to change, and to a more conscious approach to both spoken and unspoken conversations, and spiritually, the combination of Mercury's intellect and the North Node's directional guidance asks us to honour our instincts while remaining open to the lessons that the universe and life presents, So yeah, that's the main influences this week. So now I'm just going to talk about what's happening on a day-to-day level and the aspects that are influencing us. So Mercury makes a trine to Mars. The Sun makes its semi-square to Chiron, and Mercury's parallel to Saturn is exact today at 9:05, and I talked about that earlier. So Mercury's trine to Mars happens when Mercury's in Aquarius and Mars is in Gemini, and the Sun's semi-square to Chiron happens when the Sun's in Aquarius and of course Chiron's in Pisces. So yeah, the trine between Mercury and Mars allows us and supports us in improving the communication skills, which is the main theme of this week, empowering us to confidently assert and express our ideas and thoughts and ideas, as I said, and it can just make conversations flow more easily. So it's a good time for discussions that require clarity and decisiveness on the 23rd of February. It encourages us to take the initiative and go after our goals with passion and intensity, and this can lead to breakthroughs in projects and relationships. So it wants us to totally own this energetic vibe, as it supports networking and working with others, and it supports us in connecting with others who we share similar goals with as well. The Sun semi-square to Chiron, so we've got a lot of Chiron energy this week. So again, this brings discomfort into our life, because once again it increases our awareness of our personal wounds and unresolved issues that need our attention right now. It serves as a motivator for healing, and it wants us and supports us in confronting those issues. And although this energy can be challenging, it offers us a chance for growth and self-discovery. So if we balance the assertiveness of Mars's trine to Mercury with the reflective nature of the Sun's Chiron transit today, This can lead to a more profound understanding of ourselves and our relationships with others, which is always a good thing. On the 24th of February, Mars goes direct, and if you want the in-depth version, check out the separate audio that I've done. Mercury makes a semi-square to Pluto. The Sun's contraparallel to Venus is exact at 3:19 AM today. The Moon enters void, of course, at 10 past midday, and the Balsamic moon phase starts at 2:05 PM, and then the moon enters Capricorn at 7:26 tonight. So a lot going on today. So Mercury's semi-square to Pluto happens when Pluto's in Capricorn, Mercury's in Aquarius, of course. Okay, so as the moon moves into Capricorn, you are asked to set realistic goals and work diligently and carefully towards achieving your goals. You can find yourself more focused on your responsibilities, and this can be a productive time, for tackling those tasks, those projects, those discussions that require discipline and perseverance, for your attention and for you to keep on going. So good energy for negotiations, The grounding energy of Capricorn helps us to prioritize our long-term aspirations and goals this week, well over the next couple of days, and allows you to, plan and build a solid foundation, habits, daily thoughts for your future plans. So totally own this energy to organize your life and make decisions that align with your values and ambitions. But the moon in Capricorn can add to, us being too serious this week and suppressing and bottling up our emotions. It's great for routine and structure and achievement, but it can also lead to feelings of isolation or sadness if we become too rigid, inflexible in our approach, and we cannot want to deal with emotions as well. So the best use of this energy is to balance your goals and your routine and your day-to-day life with self-care and emotional awareness, and engage, do the things that nurture your spirit, your body, your soul, your mind, while going after your goals. And remember to celebrate your achievements no matter how small they may seem to you, and this balance will help you make the most of Capricorn's practicality without losing touch with your emotional needs right now, which is really important. On the 25th of February, Mercury makes a conjunction to Saturn, Mercury makes a semi-sextile to Chiron, the Sun makes a contraparallel to Chiron as well. So Mercury's conjunction to Saturn happens when Mercury's in Aquarius and Saturn's in Aquarius, and Mercury's semi-sextile to Chiron happens when Mercury's in Aquarius and Chiron's in Pisces, and the Sun's contraparallel to Chiron is exact at 8:26 today, and I talked about this earlier. So Mercury's conjunction to Saturn allows us to be disciplined in our communication. Of course, Saturn rules Capricorn, and the moon's currently there. So again, it gives us that extra power to focus on what matters to us and spend time on the discussions and the things and activities that are meaningful to us as well. And because we are more determined to reach our goals, this is really good energy to start projects you've been putting off. But just watch out for the semi-sextile to Chiron that again highlights our vulnerabilities, especially in our communication style, and while it encourages us and supports us with confronting and healing those past wounds I talked about earlier, we have to try and be sensitive in the way that we talk to avoid misunderstandings, and give people grace if they trigger us, especially if they don't know that what they're saying is triggering you beforehand, So use this mix of energies to structure, routine your ideas while also remain open to learning from past mistakes. So on the 26th of February, the moon enters void, of course, at 2:33, and the moon also enters Aquarius at 11:07 today. So as the moon enters Aquarius, we may find our thoughts and emotions take a more progressive and innovative tone. It encourages us to think outside of the box and totally own, our unconventional ideas, our out of the box thinking, our unique expression. We may feel a need and motivation to connect with like-minded people and create relationships that promote our shared visions and collective goals, or spend time with people who we really feel secure with, who we already know already. And it allows us to focus on issues of humanitarian plans, and and it pushes us to consider how our actions can contribute to the greater good. On the 27th of February, Mercury makes a sextile to Uranus. Mercury also enters Pisces. If you want to know all about that, check out the separate audio. The Saturn makes its exact semi-sextile to Chiron at 10:43, and I talked about this in the introduction already. Mercury's sextile to Uranus happens when Mercury is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Aries. So Mercury in Pisces, I talk a bit about it here, allows us to upgrade and improve our intuition and creativity and emotional understanding, allowing for deeper connections in our communication and relationships. It supports imaginative thinking this week, so it supports us being creative and exploring ourselves on the spiritual deeper levels, but it adds to the confusion and miscommunication, and it can make us daydream and lack focus on the practical matters. So we need to remain grounded while using our imagination and spend time on creative projects. Practicing mindfulness as well can help us stay grounded, as well as spiritual practices. The sextile between Mercury and Uranus allows us to be inspired as we close down the week, and shake up our usual thought patterns, making it an ideal moment for brainstorming and exploring new concepts, So yeah, on the 28th of February, there's a super new moon in Aquarius. Mercury makes its exact parallel to Neptune, and the moon enters void, of course, at 6:42 tonight. So Mercury's parallel to Neptune happens when Mercury is in Pisces and Neptune's in Aquarius, and leaves us on the 3rd of March. So yeah, if you want to know more about the super new moon, check out the separate audio. Mercury's parallel to Neptune allows us and supports us with being imaginative. This is really good. It allows us and supports us in upgrading and improving our ability to communicate with subtlety and depth, picking up on body language, being more empathetic to other people's emotional states and connecting with each other on that emotional level, or connecting with ourselves on that emotional level, But we just need to watch out for misunderstandings and illusions that can arise and come up because of the influence of Neptune, can blur the lines of clarity. So to make the best use of this transit, focus on artistic or spiritual plans that allow for self-expression and vulnerability, ensuring that you remain grounded while exploring the ethereal realms of your imagination. Okay, so on the 1st of March 2025, the moon enters Pisces at 28 minutes past midnight. The sun makes a semi-sextile to Venus. The moon's north node goes stationary direct. Mercury's parallel to the moon's north node is exact at 6:39, and Mercury makes a conjunction, which is the same as a parallel, but parallel means that the sun and Mercury's on opposite. No, sorry, parallels mean the sun and Mercury are on the same side of the earth, so energy works similar to the conjunction but not exact. It's a different thing in astrology, so yeah. Tends to last longer, parallels and contraparallels, the effects of this energy. So yeah, the sun also makes a semi-sextile to Venus, as I said, and that happens when the sun's in Aquarius and Venus is in Pisces. So Mercury's conjunction to the moon's north node happens when they're both in Pisces, of course. So the moon in Pisces allows us to be creative, have more compassion, have more spiritual awareness, and encourages us to connect with our feelings and the collective unconsciousness, but we just need to watch out for the increased sensitivity that this energy can bring, and the confusion and the need to escape because of the emotional overwhelm we can feel burned out, so we may want to turn to drugs, drink and alcohol. So we just need to watch out for that, because there's a lot of energy doing that, and the best use of this energy is to spend time on our creative plans, meditation, therapeutic practices that upgrade and improve our emotional well-being. And by using this energy, individuals can explore our inner worlds while remaining mindful of the potential for emotional turbulence, ensuring a balanced and constructive experience with this energy, and and the Sun semi-sextile to Venus allows us to have harmony in our relationship, and also allows us to have more self-worth and self-love and acceptance and forgiveness and understanding. Just great energy to use as we close down the week, for self-care, and it encourages us to express affection more freely to ourselves and others, and it allows us to attract positive support from ourselves and others as well. And the Moon's North Node going direct allows us to focus on our life direction, and it made us feel a renewed motivation to go after what we really want. It motivates us to align our actions with our higher aspirations and goals, and Mercury's conjunction to the Moon's North Node allows us and supports us with communicating those ideas, and we may find ourselves expressing our thoughts, and this can bring us closer to our ambitions and goals while also inspiring those around us. But we just need to watch out for the impulsive tendencies of Aries, as they can lead to hasty decisions. So take this time to express your dreams and engage with your community, and ensure that your conversations are both meaningful and constructive this week. So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes for this week. I'm Amani, your holistic astrological karmic life coach. Take care and see you next time.